guys, it is Game Theories here, and last week we of course had the huge revelation that Disney is releasing sequels to Frozen, Zootropolis/Zootopia, and of course Toy Story. These are huge movies that I am so excited about, but it made me wonder, are these the only Disney sequels coming? Because one of the big reasons why these sequels are coming in the first place is probably not for the best reason. Disney is in some huge financial difficulties after the switch back to their old CEO Bob Iger from when Chapek was in charge. This has meant returning to their biggest franchises as they know they will make the most money, because did we really need yet another Toy Story film? I mean, how many times can they wrap up that story? But with Zootropolis or Zootopia, depending on what you call it, getting a sequel, it means some of Disney's most successful films that have yet to have a sequel may be coming very soon. So today we're going to be looking at which Disney films are most likely to be getting sequels and what exciting sequels we could be soon seeing. Let's get into it, but before we go any further, please make sure that you've clicked that red subscribe button down below and have your notifications turned on so that you get notified every time we make any brand new videos. And guys, if you want to just look at a certain film, go check out the video chapters. So today we're just going to be looking at all of the computer generated imagery Walt Disney Animation Studios films. These are the films like Frozen and Zootropolis. Pixar is a whole other ball game as their franchises already have loads of sequels, and that is just a whole other conversation. And we're only going to be focusing on the CGI Disney films because the traditional animated films, those are your Snow White to The Princess and the Frog, are much less likely to get sequels as animations in that style just isn't done for movies anymore. Plus we've got the Disney remakes instead. And yes, we do have CGI versions of the characters from Ralph Breaks the Internet, but loads of them already have straight to DVD or VHS sequels, so there's no bother to do anymore. Remember, Disney's aim here is to make money, so only the biggest franchises will get sequels. So let's start off with the films that are least likely to get any sequels, because we have 10 properties that could potentially get sequels here, but not all 10 are obviously going to get sequels. Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, and Bolt were Disney's first ever attempt at this new animation form, and purely because they were released over 15 years ago, it is becoming more and more unlikely Disney is ever going to return to them. Chicken Little was Disney's first attempt to break into the CGI animated market, and it didn't really go so well. This was before Disney owned Pixar, so they were competing in between The Incredibles and Cars, two of Pixar's most successful properties, and also DreamWorks' Madagascar, one of its most successful properties. I'm sure you've heard of The Incredibles, Cars, and Madagascar, but I'm betting on thinking some of you have never even heard of Chicken Little, and even if you have, did not remember it until I just mentioned it to you. Meet the Robinsons was a cool idea at the time, but just executed so poorly. It was a film about time travel, which if Disney created now, I reckon they would do really well at it. Instead, it is just really cringy and painful to watch. I remember loving this as a kid, but I've rewatched it since and couldn't even get past the first 10 minutes. At this point, Disney was still finding their feet, and so it's very unlikely that this will get a sequel. Instead, they might just make another original film with time travel as the theme. And then we have Bolt, which is a shame because this film is an absolute masterpiece. I suppose they could do a sequel for it, however, it hasn't exactly stood the test of time as the other films have, and the film itself ended on an almost perfect ending that really doesn't need a sequel whatsoever. That saying, however, Toy Story 3 ended on a perfect ending, and yet they still made more sequels. But it's not just the older films that might not be getting sequels, as newer films might also not be as well. And I wouldn't blame you if you have never even heard of the films I'm about to mention. Strange World was Disney's most recent film, and it was also one of the most underperforming animated films ever. It plummeted at the box office, and it's one of the catalysts as to why we're in this situation in the first place, where Disney is struggling on finance. Personally, I really liked the film, but it just didn't go to a large enough audience, so it will likely not be getting a sequel. And finally, we have Raya and the Last Dragon, which was Disney's next big film after Frozen 2, all ready to open us up to a new Disney princess, but then the pandemic came and it was released straight to Disney+. Now, because of this, we don't actually know how successful it was, and with films that are technically Disney+ originals, it seems like a huge risk to suddenly mainstream it with a sequel cinema release. However, they did recently announce Raya as an official Disney princess, meaning she will be advertised with the backing of the Disney Princess marketing, and the film is so good with so much potential for a sequel, so this could be hinting that Disney is not finished with The Last Dragon just yet. But in saying that, I still think it's very unlikely, and the other films that we're about to talk about seem much more likely to have sequels. But let's move on to the films that could be getting sequels. Tangled! It seems like a no-brainer. Tangled was Disney's first massive successful CGI animated film, and it is still talked about today all the time. Frozen got a sequel, and I am so surprised Tangled did not. And like we were discussing before, Disney princesses sell. That's why they went about recreating all of the Disney Princess classic films. Tangled is also a musical, which of course requires extra work, but musicals bring in a lot more potential for merchandising with the success of the original Tangled score, and since Tangled was released 13 years ago, the nostalgia factor will also be high. The only issue is the way the film ended kind of shut off the whole idea of Rapunzel, and that is her long hair. We of course saw Flynn and Rapunzel attend Anna and Elsa's coronation with short hair, but one of the things people loved about Tangled is the story of Rapunzel with her really long hair, and Disney sells Rapunzel with long hair still. Disney has also done a very successful Disney Channel TV show about Rapunzel, still with long hair, so maybe they will do Rapunzel and Flynn's daughter for a potential sequel, or just anything to bring back that long hair. Next, we have Wreck-It Ralph. I know we've already had Ralph Breaks the Internet, which came back with some mixed reviews, but the potential for further sequels is still out there, and like Frozen 2, Wreck-It Ralph is the only other CGI Disney animated movie that has gotten a sequel so far, and there must be a reason for that. So maybe another adventure with Vanellope and Ralph could still happen. Big Hero 6 is next, and I think this one is definitely likely. I am 90% sure this film will happen. Animated films are some of Disney's biggest properties, but so is Marvel. Combining them together and you have a huge, amazing and financial hit film. And we know about Disney's interest in this property with a Disney XD animated show, but also the new Disney Plus exclusive miniseries Baymax. And what else had a Disney Plus exclusive series and is now getting a sequel? That is Zootopia Plus. Also, Baymax is just iconic now. It seems very likely that they're not finished with him yet. Just think of the potential financial gains this could give Disney, plus they could also get ideas from the already existing comics like they do with the other Marvel properties. In a similar sense, I think Moana is also extremely likely. In fact, I am 99.99% sure we are going to be getting a Moana sequel. Like, I'm shocked we haven't had one already. Not only was it a massive success, Moana is also a huge Disney princess. The music was massive, and like Big Hero 6 and Zootropolis, Moana also is getting a Disney Plus original TV show that is set to be released this year. I reckon it's just a small teaser before the film, which could look at Moana's voyaging clan looking for a new island. And finally, we have the huge film that we definitely should not talk about, Encanto. And I think this one is just a no-brainer. Oddly, Encanto performed quite awfully for a Disney film at the box office, but as soon as it was released on Disney Plus, it became a massive success with the rise of social media like TikTok. By far, Disney's biggest success in original works since the likes of Frozen, with the music especially shining through, like Surface Pressure hitting the charts, and We Don't Talk About Bruno literally hitting #1. Disney loves Mirabelle as well, and I think it's very likely she's becoming an official Disney princess in 2023, along with the fact that they are cashing in on Encanto with releasing stage versions and just everything else you can think of. And there's so much potential with a second film, focusing on all of the powers that the Madrigal family have, maybe even leading to Mirabelle getting some powers of her own. But anyway guys, that is the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure that you smash that like button down below and subscribe subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Guys, let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this? Which Disney films do you reckon are going to get more sequels? Or do you reckon that the first 3 films that Disney announced to be getting sequels, Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, and Zootopia 2, are going to be the only Disney sequels that we're going to be getting, just to make sure that Disney's on the right track again, and then we're just going to be getting loads more originals? Which ones do you hope for the most? Let me know all your thoughts down there. And as always, we've been here on Gate of Theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.